Okay, so we're recording. Yeah, so hey, I'm just testing out this camera just to see kind of how it is, but I do want to practice like having a message along with what what I and one of the messages I wanted to relay today was those phone consultations and what those things are, what the approach is, and how you should look at a phone consultation. So, therapists, we get prospective clients. People call, reach out via email, straight directly to us or through the practice. And when they're interested in us based on like what they read on the bio or whatever, maybe the picture, whatever, they schedule a phone consultation. And it's about 15 minutes long. It is you basically having, taking time to really learn a little bit about what the client is coming to therapy about, what's been on their mind, and you get to tell a little bit about your approach to therapy or maybe just your therapeutic style. You gain small rapport, and if they feel like they like your energy or they like you overall, then they go and schedule the intake, which is the next step. So I've had a couple of calls with potential clients in the past couple of weeks. And first of all, this is not my favorite thing to do. My favorite thing to do as a therapist is to really sessions, therapy. That part is my favorite thing. But phone consults is like 50-50. Sometimes I'll get like that really good phone consult. And for the most part, I can talk to people. But when it is people just put in spam, that's when I'm like, I'm annoyed with it. But you get a lot of spam in between these calls. They're not like easy to do. So this is in the building a caseload phase of the journey of MHCLP work. And yeah, so I've had a couple of calls with clients, and I've noticed that I'm getting more comfortable with doing phone consults. I used to go over a script, and I used to be like really diligent on the script, but now I've let it go because I kind of know the flow of how I should ask questions to a potential client and what that should look like. But overall, I am setting up the space to be more at ease with the client. So I don't need a script. Now I don't feel like I need a script. And what I'm seeing is that when I'm talking to the client, the two most important things for any prospective client is that they feel understood in why they're coming to therapy and that they feel heard through this phone call. Some people tend to be so caught up in what that follow-up question should be that they're not following the lead of the client or the potential client. And so now that I put away the script, because I remember I had a whole cadence, but now that I put away the script, I'm really leaning into my active listening skills. I'm really leaning into my active listening skills. And that right there is like where you just are really blocking out outside noise, anything, any outside thoughts, anything. And you're really honing in to what that person is saying and receiving the message that they're saying. And then using like follow-up questions or validation to make them feel comfortable. And you're really setting that safe space. So like these phone calls, you're really letting them see a glimpse of how you do therapy as a therapist. And what I've realized is that for the last few calls that I've had during the call, it wasn't awkward. The client wasn't awkward, but then all clients are different. But these last few calls, the client wasn't awkward. And I even got like the audible signal that they were at ease, that they started the call very tense, but audibly I can hear them relax. And I felt so good that they were able to relax, because some come in with a lot of tension. They come in with a lot of anxiety symptoms and features and stuff. And to hear them breathe in such a way that you could tell that the shoulders are going down, you could tell that they're sitting back in the chair, and then they say something like, you get it, or that's completely it, or that's exactly what's going on. That affirms to me that I'm on the right track with really understanding what they're saying, and they do feel heard in this phone call. And then I go on to just share what my therapeutic style is and what my approach is and who I am. And there's different ways to do that, which we can definitely talk about on here. But there's so many different ways that you can go about doing a phone call, like a phone consultation with clients. As I'm going through this journey, I'm learning more about myself and really how important phone consults are. That first point of contact with a client that's maybe hesitant about starting therapy, or it took them years to finally pick up the phone and they came across profiles and they're interested in interviewing, and how important that is for them to assure them that they are on the right track. And it's so good that you called, or, you give them that positive language so that they know, because even on the call, they're still unsure. Like, they haven't set anything up yet. So even on the call, they're still unsure that even this was the best step for them. Are they talking to a stranger? Like, it's just so many variables that people consider when they take that first step towards therapy. And yeah, that's just been on my mind lately when I spend time and I reflect on everything I'm doing, because your girl is busy I'm busy all the time. But when I took a little bit of time and I was thinking about it this morning, I was like, those phone consultations, once you get into the zone of doing them, you really find your comfort and you're able to adjust to the client, because you don't know who's going to call. You don't know what they're coming with, but you're able to kind of, meet the client where they at, meet the prospect where they at, and still bring them ease on the phone. Once you kind of get the hang of that, and I'm just starting to really get into the groove of that, I was just like, ooh, you can hear when you've hit a pain point, or not a pain point, but you've really heard the client. You've really listened and given the client that space to be heard. And that's so important for prospective client. If you don't learn anything from this call, that I'm gonna call it a phone call, if you don't learn anything, learn that that the clients need to feel understood and they need to feel heard while you're talking to them. It's 15 minutes. It's not a lot of time. I don't know how long an elevator pitch is, but I feel like these phone consults may either be similar to an elevator pitch for people in sales, or slow, less than an elevator pitch. But, if you get a bad call, or the client decides, the prospect decides not to go with you at all, don't take it as any language that's telling you that you're not on the right track. This is me. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to my fellow therapist. That just wasn't your client. That's what that was. That's not your client. You are not the person to help them. Someone else is the person to help them. But you are doing the right thing. And the more you do it, the easier it'll be to even gauge whether this client is that fit for you. But don't give up. I don't want to end this call by saying, that I don't want to leave you hanging. Don't give up. You keep going. You keep practicing. You keep honing your skills. You keep honing your skills, because one day it's going to all click, just like it did for me. I talk on the phone all the time, and it's in different capacities, but I feel like over the past few weeks, connecting with the client and really getting to give them a glimpse of who I am, without having that worry. Because one thing new therapists are going to feel is imposter syndrome. When you're in school, you feel it. Your internship, you feel it. Your practicum, you feel it. Your internship, you feel it. When you become an LP, you feel it. You feel it all the time. You feel imposter syndrome because you're just trying to figure out, am I the person to be helping these people? And that's another conversation we'll have another day. But today is more once you put those worries down and you feel more comfortable in what you're doing, and you're showing up for yourself every day, and you show up for your client every day, and you learn more about how important listening is for every session that you do, you'll realize that those calls will get much easier, because you kind of know what you do. You're more in your own space. So my approach will be this, and it'll be nothing for you to say. When you first start out, you don't even know what your approach is. When you're in practicum, you're like, what approach? I'm just trying to learn. And then as you go from practicum to intern to LP, you learn that I might really like narrative. I might really like solution focus. That could be really associated to your personality type. You could just be that type of person. And that's why those approaches work so well with you. So I hope you take away from this that, it gets easier or smoother the more you do it. And, even if that connection is not made by the client, it's not any indicator of who you are as a therapist. It is more that is not your ideal client. So I hope you guys have a great night. I'm so happy you took my call, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.